While my husband splurges on a $15,000 Cartier bracelet for his girlfriend, I'm finalizing papers that will cut off his access to the family trust fund he thinks I know nothing about. As he plans their romantic getaway to the Maldives using our savings, I'm orchestrating the biggest wake-up call of his privileged life. He has no idea that his naive trophy wife has been the silent trustee of his family's fortune for the past 3 years. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. My hand remains steady as I sign another document, a quiet smile playing at my lips. Through the window of my lawyer's corner office, I can see the luxury jewelry store where my husband, Marcus, is currently shopping for his mistress, Vanessa. The irony isn't lost on me. The same store where he bought my engagement ring 5 years ago. The same store that just texted me a receipt confirmation for a $15,000 purchase on our joint credit card. Mrs. Bennett, are you absolutely certain about the timing? Patricia, my lawyer, watches me with a mixture of admiration and concern. Her reading glasses catch the afternoon light as she organizes another stack of documents. We could wait until... I turn my phone toward her, showing Marcus's latest Instagram story. The timestamp reads 3 minutes ago. Life is about creating moments that take your breath away. Blessed are living my best life. The photo shows a champagne flute at the jewelry store's VIP lounge, his father's vintage Rolex visible in the frame, the one I helped restore for his 30th birthday last year. The timing, I say, signing another paper with flourish, is perfect. My phone buzzes with a text from Marcus. Working late tonight, sweetheart. Big client meeting. Don't wait up. Love you. I've saved every message like this from the past 4 months. Each one corresponds perfectly with a credit card charge at high-end restaurants, luxury hotels, or designer boutiques. The ones he doesn't know I've traced. The ones that match exactly with Vanessa's suspiciously expensive Instagram posts, each tagged with subtle hints about her generous mystery man. What they don't know is that I've known for months. Every business dinner, every client emergency, every suspicious withdrawal from our joint savings account. I've documented it all. But unlike most betrayed wives, I didn't confront him. I didn't throw his designer clothes onto the front lawn or key his precious Porsche. Instead, I did what I do best. I followed the money. This one, Patricia points to a particular document, will initiate the trust fund audit once you sign. There's no going back after this. I think about this morning, how Marcus kissed my cheek before leaving for work, how he promised we'd plan that trip to the Maldives soon. Meanwhile, I'd already seen the Maldives reservations he'd made, not for us, but for him and Vanessa next month, paid for with our savings. Good, I say, my signature flowing across the paper. That's exactly what I want. My phone lights up with another notification, an Instagram story from Vanessa showing off a distinctive Cartier box, captioned, "When he knows exactly what you deserve." I screenshot it, noting the time and date. It matches perfectly with the purchase notification from our joint account, the one Marcus thinks I never check. The forensic team will begin their investigation Monday morning, Patricia explains, organizing the papers. Given what you've already uncovered about the trust fund manipulations, they'll find twice as much as we already know. I finish for her, pulling up a folder on my phone. Here's every transaction he's tried to hide through that fake investment. Company he set up. The one where Vanessa mysteriously became a financial advisor 2 months ago, despite her only experience being as a part-time yoga instructor. Patricia's eyes widen as she scrolls through the documents. This is incredibly thorough. I had a lot of free evenings, I say dryly. You know, with all his client meetings. As if on cue, my phone buzzes with a group chat notification. Our friends planning a weekend barbecue. Marcus responds immediately. Sorry everyone, have to skip. Flying to Chicago for business. I have to suppress a laugh. I know about that business trip too. I've seen the hotel reservation in the Maldives. First-class tickets for 2 charged to our joint credit card. Last one, Patricia says, sliding the final paper across the desk. This initiates the full trust fund investigation. Once you sign this, I don't hesitate. My signature flows across the paper, years of anger and betrayal channeled into each curve and line. Another notification pops up. Marcus going live on Instagram from what's supposed to be his client meeting, the jewelry store's distinctive decor visible in the background. Let them celebrate, I say, standing up and smoothing my dress, the one Marcus bought me last month out of guilt. By Monday morning, they'll have a very different story to share. Patricia gathers the papers, her expression both impressed and slightly unnerved. You know, in 12 years of handling trust fund disputes, I've never seen anyone quite as prepared. Strategic, I suggest, picking up my bag, or maybe just tired of being underestimated. As I walk out of the office, my phone buzzes one last time. Marcus sending his nightly check-in. Miss you, beautiful. Can't wait to come home to you. I smile, typing back. Sleep well, darling. Monday's going to be interesting. He'll think it's just another loving message from his unsuspecting wife. But then again, he always did underestimate me. That's about to become his most expensive mistake. Little does he know, while he's been playing his games, I've been playing a much longer one. 3 years ago, when his father had a health scare, I was the one who helped reorganize the family's estate planning. Marcus was too busy with his networking events to attend the meetings. He never bothered to read the updated trust documents, the ones that made me, his trophy wife, the primary trustee of the Bennett family fortune. Monday morning can't come soon enough. The morning after signing those initial papers, I dress with meticulous care. Hermes silk blouse, tailored Brunello Cucinelli suit, and the Van Cleef & Arpels necklace Marcus's mother gave me last Christmas. The mirror reflects exactly what Marcus expects to see: his perfectly polished wife, the former art history major he loves to introduce as his beautiful but financially clueless partner at family gatherings. If he only knew I spent 3 years managing acquisitions at Goldman Sachs before we met. Good morning, darling. I call out as he stumbles into our marble kitchen, clearly hungover from last night's client meeting. The coffee machine hums quietly, filling our $4 million Upper East Side apartment with the aroma of his favorite Brazilian roast. I made your breakfast. He kisses my cheek, reeking of expensive cologne and guilt. The same cologne I noticed on Vanessa's latest Instagram post from their accidental run-in at Bergdorf's yesterday. You're too good to me, babe. If only you knew, I think, sliding his coffee across our Calicotta marble counter. The same counter where I'd sat until 3 a.m. last night, on a secure video call with Sebastian, my old colleague from Goldman. Sebastian, who now heads their private wealth management division. Sebastian, who nearly spat out his whiskey when I showed him what I'd found in Marcus's private trust fund transactions. Another early meeting? I ask innocently, watching him. Check his phone. His lock screen is still our vacation photo from Positano last summer, but I know his background is Vanessa. I've seen it reflected in his car window when he texts her during our dinner dates. Yeah, the Richardson portfolio. Is killing me? He runs a hand through his perfectly styled hair, distracted. The Richardson portfolio that doesn't exist. I've already confirmed the Richardsons moved their wealth management to Morgan Stanley 6 months ago. Don't work too hard, I say, squeezing his shoulder. He doesn't notice me taking a photo of his phone screen in the reflection of our Viking Range's chrome surface, capturing Vanessa's message about their lunch plans at the new Jean-Georges restaurant. After he leaves, I transform our home office into my command center. The framed photos of our wedding at the plaza disappear into drawers, replaced by printouts of bank statements, trust fund documents, and property records. My friend Rachel, a trust fund attorney I've known since our Princeton days, sits cross-legged on my custom restoration hardware carpet surrounded by papers. Jesus Christ, she mutters, holding up a document. Did he really think he could hide these trust fund withdrawals behind a shell company registered in the Cayman Islands? Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. I laugh, but there's no humor in it. He registered it under his childhood. Golden Retriever's name. The one that died 10 years ago. Rachel shakes her head, adding the paper to our growing evidence pile. Men like him always think they're the smartest person in the room. That's because they never bother looking around, I reply, pulling up another document on my laptop. Look at this. Every time he meets Vanessa, he files it as a trust fund management expense. 5-star hotels with a woman who's supposedly advising him on legacy wealth planning, despite not knowing the difference between a bond and a bank account. My phone buzzes. A group text from our friend Elizabeth about her upcoming charity gala at the Metropolitan Museum. Marcus responds immediately with another excuse. Vanessa, I notice, has already marked herself unavailable on the event's planning committee list. They're getting careless, I observe, adding another screenshot to my collection. Confident. Have you talked to Judge Morrison yet? Rachel asks, referring to our friend who oversees trust fund disputes in the Southern District. I nod, pulling up an encrypted email chain. She's ready. The moment we file on Monday, she'll randomly schedule an emergency hearing about suspicious trust fund activities. The same hearing that will reveal Vanessa's company has been receiving trust fund payments for consulting since before she even met Marcus. My phone lights up with Marcus's face, his daily check-in call. I answer with practiced cheerfulness, listening to him lie about his lunch meeting while I stare at their restaurant reservation confirmation in my email. The same email account he set up for me, thinking I'd only use it for online shopping. Miss you too, honey, I say, watching Rachel roll her eyes. Don't forget we have dinner with your parents tonight. He pauses, and I can practically hear him, texting Vanessa to reschedule. Of course, babe. Wouldn't miss it. After hanging up, I turn to Rachel. He'll cancel in about 3 hours. Emergency trust fund meeting. How can you be so sure? I pull up Vanessa's Instagram story from this morning, a cryptic post about a special sunset surprise at the new rooftop bar at the Mandarin Oriental. Because I know their routine better than they do, the rest of the day unfolds like a carefully choreographed ballet. I attend my regular board meetings at the Arts Foundations where I serve as a trustee, make appearances at my usual lunch spots, even get my nails done at the salon where Marcus's sister goes. Everything normal, everything routine. No one would suspect that in my Bottega Veneta briefcase, I'm carrying documents that will dismantle a decade of Marcus's careful deceptions. Right on schedule at 4:47 p.m., Marcus texts, Baby, I'm so sorry. Might have to rain-check dinner with my parents. Emergency meeting with the trust fund advisors. I respond with just the right amount of disappointment and understanding, watching through my phone's banking alerts as he makes a dinner reservation. At Marea, his and Vanessa's favorite spot for their business strategy sessions. The trust fund advisors haven't scheduled any meetings. I would know. I'm the one who approves their calendar. Look what just came in, Rachel says, holding up her phone. Vanessa's posted a photo of champagne glasses at sunset, the Mandarin. Oriental's distinctive Central Park view unmistakable in the background. Perfect, I say, adding the screenshot to our collection. That receipt will match beautifully with the emergency business dinner he's about to charge to the trust fund account. As evening falls, I sit in our meticulously decorated living room, surrounded by evidence of Marcus's double life and my own careful documentation. Every lie, every secret meeting, every hidden trust fund withdrawal, all of it meticulously cataloged and cross-referenced. My phone buzzes with another Instagram notification. Vanessa wearing a new Versace dress that costs more than her supposed monthly consulting fee, captioned with a single diamond emoji. I save it to the folder marked Monday and pour myself a glass of Chateau Lafite from the collection Marcus thinks only he has access to in our wine cellar. Let them have their romantic evening, I murmur, scanning through the latest trust fund reports Sebastian sent over. Let them think they're the clever ones, playing their little game of hide and seek with the naive wife. I've spent months building this facade of ignorance, and in less than 12 hours, I'll have the pleasure of watching it shatter along with everything else they thought they could take from me. The forensic accountants finished their preliminary review. Rachel calls from the office, her voice tight with disbelief. You're not going to believe what they found in the offshore accounts. I join her, my heels clicking against our Italian marble floors. On her laptop screen, a complex web of transactions unfolds. A masterpiece of financial deceit that would be almost impressive if it wasn't so staggeringly stupid. He's been transferring trust fund money through 3 different shell companies, Rachel explains, highlighting various transactions, all registered under variations of his dog's name, then funneling it through Vanessa's fake consulting firm and into private accounts in the Cayman Islands. I lean closer, a cold smile playing at my lips. Show me the dates of the first transfers, Rachel. Pulls up a timeline and my smile widens. Just as I thought. He started moving money the day after his father made me trustee. He never even bothered to check who had final approval power. My phone chimes with a message from Marcus's mother. Darling, are you and Marcus still coming for dinner? I've had Cook prepare his favorite soufflé. Poor Diana Bennett, still believing her son is the same responsible young man who followed his father's footsteps into wealth management. Wait until she discovers how her precious boy has been treating her family's 7-generation fortune. What? About the trust fund bylaws? Rachel asks, pulling up another document. The ones about moral conduct and financial responsibility? Article 7, Section 3, I quote from memory. Any trustee or beneficiary found to be engaging in actions that endanger or diminish the family's financial legacy can be immediately suspended from access pending full investigation. Rachel's eyes gleam. And with Vanessa's social media trail? Every post, every photo, every location check-in, I confirm, pulling up a carefully curated folder on my laptop. All matching perfectly with trust fund withdrawals and consulting payments. They've documented their own misconduct better than we ever could. My phone lights up with another check-in from Marcus. Just wrapped the emergency meeting, baby. Might be a late one, so much paperwork to review. I text back. Don't work too hard, darling. Make sure you eat something. Through the window, I can see the lights of the Mandarin Oriental, knowing they're up there right now, celebrating what they think is their perfect deception. Marcus, probably congratulating himself on how skillfully he's managed to hide his withdrawals from the trust fund. Vanessa, no doubt already planning how to spend more of the Bennett family money. Patricia just confirmed, Rachel says, checking her phone. Judge Morrison has cleared her morning calendar. The moment we file, she'll expedite the hearing. I nod, walking to our floor-to-ceiling windows. The New York skyline sparkles back at me, a constellation of lights that seems to mirror the intricate web of evidence we've woven. Lauren? Rachel's voice turned serious. Are you absolutely sure about the timing? We could wait until after his birthday party next week. His whole family will be there. I turn back to her, thinking of the invitation I'd helped Diana design. The lavish celebration planned at the plaza, where Marcus intends to announce his new role as primary manager of the family's investments. The same party where he and Vanessa plan to accidentally meet, beginning their public story with a meet-cute his mother would approve of. The timing, I say, picking up another stack of documents, is exactly right. Let him stand in front of his entire family, ready to make his big announcement. Let him feel that moment of triumph. Rachel raises an eyebrow. Right before Judge Morrison's bailiff serves him with the trust fund suspension papers? Poetic, isn't it? My phone buzzes again, a text from Vanessa to our charity committee group. So sorry to miss tomorrow's meeting, everyone. Last-minute client emergency. The same meeting where we're supposed to discuss the annual Bennett Family Foundation Gala. I add the screenshot to our evidence file. then pull up the trust fund's latest statement. The numbers that Marcus thinks only he understands glow on the screen. If he'd ever bothered to really look, he'd have noticed that every transaction, every transfer, every withdrawal has required dual authentication for the past 3 years. One code from him, one from the trustee, me. I've watched every dollar he's tried to hide, every account he's attempted to obscure, every lie he's built his house of cards upon, all while playing the role he assigned me, the beautiful, naive wife who couldn't possibly understand the complexities of wealth management. His father's office just confirmed. Rachel checks another message. Board meeting scheduled for 9 a.m. Monday. Marcus is supposed to present the new family investment strategy. I smile, remembering the fabricated reports he's been working on, the fake projections he's created to hide his mismanagement of the trust. Perfect. That gives Judge Morrison's team plenty of time to arrive by 9:30. My phone lights up one final time for the night. Marcus, sending a photo of paperwork scattered across his office desk. Actually, the Mandarin Oriental's distinctive stationery visible in the corner. Still grinding, baby. Don't wait up. I text back a single heart emoji, then turn to Rachel. Shall we finish preparing his wake-up call? For the next few hours, we meticulously review every document, every piece of evidence, every single detail of what's about to unfold. By the time Rachel leaves, the sun is starting to rise over Manhattan, painting our living room in shades of gold that match the embossed letterhead of the Bennett Family Trust. I hear Marcus's key in the door around 6 a.m. He tries to be quiet, but his designer shoes still click against the marble floors. I'm already in the kitchen, perfectly dressed, makeup flawless, starting the coffee maker. You're up early, he says, trying to hide his surprise, and the faint trace of Vanessa's signature Jo Malone perfume on his collar. Thought you could use some breakfast after your late night, I smile, sliding him a cup of coffee. Must have been some important trust fund business. You know how it is, he waves vaguely, not meeting my eyes. Sometimes these things can't wait. Oh, darling, I think, watching him check his phone under the table, no doubt messaging Vanessa about their close call. You have no idea how right you are. Just a few more hours until Monday morning, when they learn exactly what happens when you mistake silence for ignorance and underestimate the woman you thought you'd fooled. Monday morning dawns clear and crisp, the kind of autumn New York day that usually has tourists flooding Central Park. I wake up at precisely 6:30 a.m., though I've barely slept. Marcus's side of our fret-lined bed is empty. He'd left early, eager to prepare for his big presentation to the family board. If he only knew what else was being prepared for him. I dress with surgical precision, a Chanel suit in charcoal gray, his mother's favorite. Louboutin heels, a guilt gift from Marcus after a particularly expensive weekend with Vanessa, and his grandmother's pearls, a symbol of the family trust he's about to lose. Every detail matters today. Every piece tells a story. Morning beautiful. Marcus's voice is unusually chipper when he calls at 7:45 a.m. Just wanted to check. You're coming to the board meeting, right? Thought you might want to see your husband's big moment. Wouldn't miss it for the world, darling, I reply, watching. Patricia sent confirmation that Judge Morrison has arrived at her chambers. Someone should be there to witness everything you deserve, he chuckles, missing my tone completely. That's my girl. See you at 9. I end the call and pull up the security feed from the Bennett Group's offices. Amazing what being a trustee grants you access to. Marcus is already there, practicing his presentation in the boardroom mirror, adjusting his Hermes tie with nervous fingers. On another screen, I watch Vanessa enter her favorite coffee shop, no doubt planning to celebrate with Marcus after his triumph. Everything's in position, Rachel texts. She's already at the courthouse with Patricia, waiting for the perfect moment. Judge Morrison is reviewing the final documents now. I check my watch. 8:15 a.m. Time to set the wheels in motion. My first stop is the Bennett Group's private bank, where I've been a familiar face since helping reorganize their family estate 3 years ago. Marcus never bothered to attend these meetings. Boring paperwork, he'd called it. His loss. Mrs. Bennett. Thomas, the private banking director, greets me warmly. Everything is prepared as requested. I smile, taking a seat in his plush office. And the timing? He slides a document across his mahogany desk. The moment you send the signal, every account Marcus has access to will be flagged for review. The trust fund auditors are standing by. Perfect. I sign where indicated, my Mont Blanc pen, another of Marcus's gilt gifts, flowing smoothly across the paper. And his private accounts? The ones he thought were hidden? Thomas allows himself a small smile. Already under surveillance. The moment the trust fund suspension hits, those freeze too. My phone buzzes. A message from Diana Bennett, Marcus's mother. Darling, I'm so proud of Marcus today, and so grateful to have you as part of our family. You've been such a blessing. If she only knew how much of a blessing I was about to saving her family's fortune from her own son's greed. 45M. I enter the Bennett Group's gleaming office tower, nodding to security guards who know me as the trustee's wife, not realizing I'm actually their superior. The elevator rides smoothly to the 50th floor, where the family's legacy has been managed for 3 generations. Marcus is waiting by the boardroom, practically bouncing with nervous energy. You made it! He kisses my cheek, and I catch a whiff of Vanessa's perfume still lingering on his collar. I've got such a good feeling about today. Oh, darling, I murmur, straightening his tie. You have no idea how memorable today is going to be. The boardroom fills quickly with family members and executives. Marcus's father, Richard Bennett, takes his place at the head of the table, looking every bit the family patriarch in his bespoke suit. If only his son had inherited his integrity along with his features. Before we begin, Richard announces, I want to thank everyone for being here for this momentous occasion. As you know, we're here to discuss the future of the Bennett Family Trust, and my son Marcus has prepared a comprehensive presentation on our new investment strategy. Marcus stands, straightening his papers with practiced confidence. His PowerPoint presentation glows on the screen behind him, slides full of fake projections and manipulated numbers that took him weeks to fabricate. Good morning, everyone, he begins, flashing his 1,000-watt smile. Today marks a new chapter in the Bennett legacy. 8:59 a.m. My phone vibrates silently in my lap. Rachel's message is simple. Ready. 9 a.m. Marcus clicks to his first slide, pointing out fabricated growth projections with practiced charm. As you can see, our trust fund's performance under my guidance has been exceptional. 1 a.m. I send a single text. Now. The effect is immediate but subtle at first. Marcus's phone buzzes in his pocket, probably a notification from his banking app. He ignores it, continuing his presentation. It buzzes again, and again, and again. A.M. The boardroom door opens silently. Judge Morrison's bailiff enters, nodding to me imperceptibly. Behind him, 2 federal auditors take their places by the door. And if you'll look at these returns, Marcus continues, though his phone is now buzzing constantly. He's starting to look distracted, shifting uncomfortably. You'll see that our innovative approach to... His voice trails off as he notices his father checking his own phone, frowning deeply. Other board members are doing the same, their expressions shifting, from polite attention to confused concern. 5M. The bailiff steps forward, official documents in hand. Mr. Marcus Bennett? Marcus turns, annoyed at the interruption of his big moment. I'm in the middle of something here. You are hereby served with an emergency injunction regarding the Bennett Family Trust, the bailiff announces clearly, his voice carrying to every corner of the suddenly silent boardroom. By order of Judge Morrison, you are suspended from all access to trust fund accounts and assets. pending investigation into serious allegations of misappropriation and fraud. The color drains from Marcus's face as he takes the papers with trembling hands. His phone is still buzzing, probably notifications of his accounts being frozen one by one. There must be some mistake, he stammers, looking around the room desperately. His eyes land on me, seeking support, reassurance, the naive trust he's come to expect. Instead, he finds me calmly opening my laptop, pulling up the folders marked Evidence. No mistake, darling, I say softly, turning the screen so the entire board can see. Would you like to explain these transactions to your family yourself, or shall I? The first image appears on the boardroom's main screen, replacing his fabricated presentation. A detailed spreadsheet of every dollar he's stolen, every lie he's told, every trust he's broken. Behind him, Richard Bennett stands slowly, his face a mask of shock and growing fury. Marcus! His father's voice is deadly quiet. What is this? Before he can answer, his phone buzzes one final time. He looks at it reflexively, and I know exactly what he's seeing. A notification that his access to all Bennett family accounts has been suspended. Perhaps, I suggest, standing smoothly, we should discuss the real state of the family trust, starting with these unusual payments to a certain consulting firm. Marcus slumps into his chair as I take control of the presentation remote. Behind him, the federal auditors begin setting up their equipment. Through the boardroom's glass walls, I can see Patricia and Rachel arriving with boxes of additional evidence. The day of reckoning has only just begun. Let's start with this particular transaction, I say, clicking to the next slide. The boardroom screen fills with a detailed breakdown of a $250,000 transfer from the trust fund to Vanessa's consulting firm. Made on March 15th, exactly one day after Vanessa's company was registered. Interesting timing, wouldn't you say? Marcus's hands grip the armrests of his chair, knuckles white. Behind him, Richard Bennett has switched from shock to cold fury, his jaw clenched as he watches his son's deceptions laid bare. Of course, I continue, clicking through to the next slide. That was just the beginning. Shall we discuss the offshore accounts registered under your childhood pet's name? Or perhaps the series of business development charges at the Mandarin Oriental that coincidentally match perfectly with these Instagram posts? The screen fills with a carefully curated collection. Vanessa's social media posts side by side with trust fund expenditures, times and dates perfectly aligned. Each champagne toast, each surprise gift, each luxury weekend mathematically matched with a suspicious withdrawal. This is ridiculous, Marcus finally manages, his voice cracking. These are legitimate business expenses. Dad, I can explain. Explain what exactly? I interrupt smoothly, pulling up another document. How you started embezzling from the trust fund the day after your father made me trustee. Or should we discuss how you've been using family money to fund your affair? While planning to divorce me? A gasp ripples through the boardroom. Diana Bennett, Marcus's mother, presses a hand to her chest, her face pale beneath her perfect makeup. Divorce? She whispers. Marcus, what is she talking about? Oh, you didn't know? I turn to my mother-in-law with practiced sympathy. Marcus and his financial consultant have quite the future planned, booked with trust fund money, of course. Would you like to see the Maldives reservations? The engagement ring receipt? Or perhaps the draft divorce papers his lawyer drew up last week? Marcus lunges for his phone, probably to warn Vanessa, but it's already too late. Through the boardroom's glass walls, we can see her being escorted into the building by federal agents, her designer handbag clutched to her chest like a shield. Perfect timing, I murmur, checking my watch. The FBI does run quite punctually. The FBI? Marcus's voice rises an octave. What are you? Did you really think? I cut in, my voice carrying clearly across the stunned boardroom. That you could embezzle millions from a family trust fund without consequences? That no one would notice your creative accounting? Your Father made me trustee for a reason, darling. And unlike you, I actually read the financial reports. The federal auditors have set up their equipment now, efficiently downloading data from the company servers. Patricia stands at the ready with another stack of documents, the complete forensic accounting of every dollar Marcus has stolen. Mrs. Bennett, one of the auditors calls out, "We've confirmed the initial findings. The pattern of misappropriation is consistent with your report." Marcus's head snaps up. "Your report? Who do you think has been documenting your theft all these months?" I ask quietly. Who do you think has been tracking every lie, every secret meeting, every hidden transaction? The wife you thought was too naive to understand finance? The trophy you believed would never question your business meetings? His phone buzzes again. Probably Vanessa being brought to the conference room for questioning. Through the glass, I can see her mascara-streaked face as she realizes the magnitude of their situation. "I can fix this." Marcus stands abruptly, desperation creeping into his voice. "Dad, just let me explain. We can handle this internally. Sit down." Richard Bennett's voice could freeze hell itself. "You've done quite enough." "Actually, I interject, pulling up another document. "We're just getting started. Would anyone like to see the trust fund's true performance reports? The ones Marcus has been hiding while presenting his creative fiction?" The next hour unfolds like a perfectly choreographed dance. With each new revelation, each piece of evidence, each damning document, Marcus shrinks further into his chair. His carefully constructed world of lies crumbles slide by slide, dollar by dollar. "The Cayman Islands accounts have been frozen," Rachel announces from the doorway. "And Judge Morrison has approved the emergency audit of all personal assets." Marcus's head snaps up. "Personal assets? You can't—" Article 7, Section 3 of the Trust Fund Bylaws, I quote smoothly. "Any trustee or beneficiary found to be engaging in actions that endanger or diminish the family's financial legacy can be immediately suspended from access to all related assets pending full investigation. Your father insisted I memorize every clause when he made me trustee. Shame you never bothered to read them yourself." A commotion outside draws everyone's attention. Vanessa is being led to a separate room, her face a mask of panic as she realizes the serious nature of her situation. Through the glass, I watch her reach for her phone, probably to call the lawyer she thinks can save her. "Don't bother." I call out loud enough for her to hear through the glass. "Your lawyer dropped you 20 minutes ago. Apparently, he has some concerns about being associated with trust fund fraud." Marcus stands again, this time moving toward the door, but the federal agents shift smoothly to block his path. "This is insane. You can't just—" "Can't what?" I ask, my voice deadly quiet. "Protect the family's legacy from your greed? Prevent you from stealing more of your parents' trust fund? Or perhaps you're upset that I won't let you drain the accounts to fund your new life with Vanessa?" I click to the next slide, and Marcus actually flinches. It's a photo from last week. Him and Vanessa at Tiffany's, shopping for engagement rings. The trust fund withdrawal for the purchase still pending in the system. "Engagement rings?" "Diana." Bennett's voice is barely a whisper. "While you're still married to Lauren?" "Speaking of marriage," I continue, pulling up another document. "Marcus, darling, why don't you explain to everyone why you've been meeting with divorce attorneys? Or should I share the prenup dissolution papers you had drafted?" The boardroom is deadly silent now, every eye fixed on Marcus as he realizes just how completely his plans have imploded. His father stands slowly, every inch the powerful patriarch whose legacy his son has betrayed. "Get him out of my sight," Richard orders, his voice trembling with rage, "and call the family lawyers, all of them." As security begins to escort Marcus from the boardroom, his phone buzzes one final time. I know exactly what notification he's receiving. His access to the Bennett family offices has been revoked, his keycard deactivated, his credentials suspended. "One more thing," I call out. just as he reaches the door. You might want to pack a bag when you get home. The penthouse belongs to the trust fund, and as of 9 minutes ago, you're no longer a permitted resident. Marcus turns, his face a mask of disbelief. Where am I supposed to go? I smile, remembering all the nights I lay awake while he was with Vanessa, planning this very moment. Perhaps you could stay at the Mandarin Oriental? Oh wait, your credit? Cards have all been frozen. Well, I'm sure Vanessa would offer her sofa, but I glance meaningfully at the federal agents leading her to questioning. She might be a bit preoccupied. As Marcus is led away, Diana Bennett approaches me, tears in her eyes. Lauren, I'm so sorry. We had no idea he was— It's not your fault. I squeeze her hand gently. You raised a good son. He just made very, very bad choices. Rachel appears at my side with another update. Judge Morrison wants to see you. And the forensic accountants have found 3 more offshore accounts. I nod, gathering my things as the federal agents continue their work. Through the glass walls, I can see Marcus being escorted to the lobby, his world collapsing around him. His phone is probably exploding with notifications. Frozen accounts, canceled cards, suspended memberships, revoked access. Mrs. Bennett, one of the federal agents, approaches. We'll need a statement about the trust fund discrepancies. Of course, I reply, smoothing my skirt as I stand. I believe I have everything you need right here. I pat my briefcase, filled with months of careful documentation, weeks of meticulous planning, and years of quiet observation. Marcus thought he was so clever, playing his games with the family fortune while his trophy wife smiled quietly at his side. He never realized that sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one you should fear the most. The next few hours unfold like a perfectly orchestrated symphony of consequences. From my temporary office in the Bennett Group's executive suite, Marcus's former office, ironically, I watch the dominoes continue to fall through multiple screens and live feeds. His attempt to access the Cayman accounts was just denied, Rachel reports, monitoring the financial alerts. He tried using his backup passwords, the ones he thought nobody knew about. I smile, remembering how easy it was to find those passwords scribbled in his private notebook, the one he kept in his secret safe behind our bedroom's Monet painting. How many attempts? 7 so far, each one triggering another alert to the financial authorities. My phone buzzes with a notification from our home security system. Marcus has arrived at the penthouse, probably hoping to grab some essentials before the locks are changed. Through the camera feed, I watch him frantically shoving designer suits into his luggage. The same suits I helped him select, each one paid for with trust fund money he'll soon have to account for. Should we tell him about the asset freeze? Rachel asks, watching the feed over my shoulder. Let him figure it out, I reply, turning my attention to another screen showing the federal investigators interviewing Vanessa. Her confident facade has crumbled completely now, mascara streaking down her face as she realizes the full implications of her role in Marcus's scheme. Mrs. Bennett. Patricia enters with a fresh stack of documents. The family's private bank. Just called. They've completed the initial audit of Marcus's personal accounts. I raise an eyebrow. And? He's been skimming from more than just the trust fund. They found irregular transfers from his grandmother's medical care account, his sister's children's education fund, even the family's charitable foundation. Diana Bennett, who's been sitting quietly in the corner trying to process the morning's events, lets out a small sob. The children's education fund? His own nieces and nephews? I move to comfort my mother-in-law, the woman who welcomed me into her family with open arms 5 years ago. We've already reversed the transfers, Diana. The children's futures are secure? My phone lights up with another notification. Marcus trying to check into the Four Seasons using his black card. I can almost see the color drain from his face as the card is declined. Through various feeds and alerts, I track his increasingly desperate attempts. The Ritz-Carlton, declined. The Peninsula, declined. The St. Regis, declined. His lawyer just dropped him, Rachel announces, checking her messages. Apparently, he tried to pay the retainer with one of the frozen accounts. The firm has concerns about being paid with potentially fraudulent funds. A commotion in the hallway draws our attention. Through the glass walls, we see Vanessa being escorted out by federal agents, her designer handbag now filled with copies of her sworn statement. The look she shoots toward Marcus's former office could freeze hell itself. She gave them everything, Patricia confirms, reviewing the preliminary report. Every meeting, every transaction, every promise he made. Turns out self-preservation trumps loyalty when federal charges are on the table. My phone buzzes again. A group text from our social circle about the upcoming charity gala at the Metropolitan Museum. Marcus's sister Elizabeth has already removed him from the planning committee. His name disappears from the guest list in real time, his social world crumbling as quickly as his financial one. The trust fund audit team just found something. Interesting, Rachel calls out, her eyes wide as she reads from her tablet. Remember those business development trips to Switzerland? I turn to her, intrigued. The ones where he claimed to be meeting with private banking clients? He was actually viewing properties. High-end chalets in the Alps, all conveniently far from extradition treaties. They found incomplete purchase agreements on his company laptop. Diana's head snaps up. He was planning to run. With your family's money, I confirm gently. But don't worry, he won't get the chance now. As if on cue, my phone shows another alert. Marcus's passport has been flagged. No international travel. Without court approval. His world is shrinking by the minute, his options disappearing one by one. The family's crisis management team is ready, Patricia informs us. They've prepared statements for the press, the banking community, and the social registries. I nod, pulling up the draft announcements on my laptop. The careful wording presents the Bennett family as victims of Marcus's deception while emphasizing their swift action to protect the family legacy. No mention of my role. Exactly as I planned. Lauren, Diana speaks up, her voice stronger now. The annual Family Foundation Gala is next week. With Marcus's situation, perhaps you should take over his chair? Before I can respond, my phone buzzes with an urgent message from the penthouse security team. Marcus is trying to access his home office safe, the one he thinks contains emergency cash and backup credit cards. Don't worry, I assure Diana, watching Marcus's frustrated attempts through the security feed. I already emptied that safe last week. Everything of value is secure in the family vault. Rachel's tablet pings with another update. The forensic team just found his deleted emails. You're not going to believe what he was planning for after the divorce. I turn to the large screen on the wall, now displaying a complex web of Marcus's intended post-divorce financial manipulations. Even I'm impressed by the audacity, if not the intelligence, of his schemes. He was going to claim the trust fund violated tax laws, Rachel explains, highlighting various documents. Threatened to report irregularities to the IRS unless the family paid him a massive settlement. Diana gasps. He would blackmail his own family? He would try, I correct her, pulling up another document. But that would have been difficult considering I've had tax experts reviewing and certifying every trust fund transaction for the past 3 years. My phone lights up with another notification, Marcus's attempt to access his cryptocurrency accounts. Sorry, darling, I murmur to the screen. Those wallets were transferred to the family's secure digital vault last week, along with everything else you thought you'd hidden so cleverly. Through the office windows, I can see the sun setting over Manhattan, painting the sky in shades of amber and gold. In the reflection, I catch glimpses of federal agents still combing through files, forensic accountants tracking down every missing dollar, and family lawyers protecting generations of Bennett wealth from one man's greed. Mrs. Bennett, a senior federal investigator, approaches. We've found evidence of potentially criminal transactions dating back 5 years. We'll need your statement about when you first noticed irregularities. I retrieve a carefully prepared timeline from my briefcase. I believe you'll find everything documented here. Every transaction, every unauthorized transfer, every attempt to circumvent trust fund protocols. As the investigators continue their work, I receive one final notification for the day. Marcus, having been denied access to every luxury hotel in Manhattan, has checked into a modest airport motel, paid for with borrowed cash, since his accounts remain frozen. Should we tell him about tomorrow? Rachel asks, referring to the emergency family council meeting where Marcus will be formally removed from all Bennett family enterprises. I shake my head, watching his location dot on my phone's map, so far from the privileged world he's always known. Let him sleep tonight thinking he can still fix this. Tomorrow's revelations deserve a fresh audience. Diana stands, gathering her composure along with her Hermes bag. Lauren, we can never thank you enough for protecting the family's legacy, for stopping him before he destroyed everything your family spent generations building. I finished gently. Diana, when you welcomed me into your family, you made me a Bennett. I protect what's mine. As the office slowly empties, I remain at my desk, surrounded by evidence of Marcus's betrayal and my own careful preparation. On one screen, I watch him pacing in his motel room, probably trying to figure out how his perfect plan imploded so spectacularly. On another, I see Vanessa checking into a flight to her parents' home in Ohio, her dreams of becoming Mrs. Bennett evaporating like morning mist. My phone buzzes one last time, Marcus, trying to salvage something from the wreckage of his life. Baby, please, we need to talk. I can explain everything. I smile, thinking of all the nights I lay awake, listening to his lies about working late while I quietly built the case that would bring him down. No need to explain, darling, I text back. The federal investigators have all the explanations they need. Then I turn off my phone, gather my things, and prepare to head home to the penthouse that now belongs solely to me. Tomorrow will bring more revelations, more consequences, more dismantling of Marcus's carefully constructed house of cards. But tonight, I'll sleep soundly in our king-sized bed, alone but victorious, while my husband learns what happens when you mistake quiet patience for weakness and underestimate the woman who held the real power all along. Tuesday morning brings the kind of headlines you can't buy with PR spin. Bennett heir, suspended from family trust amid fraud allegations. Scandal rocks Manhattan elite, trust fund manipulation scheme exposed. Society sweetheart's secret victory, how a trophy wife saved a family fortune. I read them all from the comfort of my home office in the penthouse, sipping the rare Japanese tea Marcus always claimed was too refined for my palate. The irony of enjoying his precious collection while watching his world burn isn't lost on me. The private banking community is in an uproar, Rachel announces, entering with a fresh stack of financial papers. 3 other prominent families have already requested audits of their own trust funds. Apparently, Marcus's scheme has everyone questioning their own financial managers. His mother's on her way up, Patricia adds, checking her phone. The doorman just called. I nod, setting down my teacup. Diana Bennett has always been the family's emotional compass, and I know this meeting won't be easy for her. Lauren. Diana sweeps in, still elegant despite her obvious distress. Have you seen the latest? They're calling it the trust fund takedown of the decade. I guide her to the sitting area, noting how her eyes linger on the empty spaces where Marcus's photos once hung. The media will move on to the next scandal soon enough. What matters is protecting the family legacy. The forensic accountants found something else, she says quietly, pulling out a folder. Something worse. I take the documents, though I already know what they'll show. Marcus hadn't just been stealing from the trust fund. He'd been systematically looting his own family's personal accounts, his sister's children's college funds, his grandmother's medical care reserves, even his parents' retirement accounts. We knew he was troubled, but this— Diana's voice breaks. His own family. Everything will be restored, I assure her, pulling up the recovery plan I'd prepared months ago. Every account has been reconciled. Every stolen dollar traced and returned. My phone buzzes with an update from the federal investigation team. They've found Marcus's secret storage unit in Brooklyn. Inside, boxes of falsified documents detail years of financial manipulation, all the evidence they need for criminal charges. Mrs. Bennett, my assistant calls from the doorway. Mr. Marcus is in the lobby demanding to be let up. He's not taking no for an answer. I pull up the security feed on my laptop. Marcus, disheveled and desperate, arguing with the doorman. His Tom Ford suit, the one he wore to so many client meetings with Vanessa, is wrinkled from a night in the airport motel. Should I call security? The assistant asks. No need, I reply, pressing a button on my phone. The police are already on their way. Anonymous tip about a person of interest in a federal fraud investigation causing a disturbance. Diana flinches. At my words but doesn't object. Even a mother's love has its limits. The Trust Fund Council is meeting in an hour, Rachel reminds me, checking her calendar. They'll want your statement about assuming emergency control. I nod, gathering my materials. In the background, my screens show multiple scenes unfolding simultaneously. Marcus being escorted from the building by police, Vanessa giving another tearful interview, painting herself as another victim of his deception, federal agents boxing up evidence from his Office Society columnists, speculating about the scandal's impact on upcoming charity gala season. Lauren, Diana speaks up suddenly. There's something I need to tell you about why Richard made you trustee 3 years ago. I turn to my mother-in-law, curious. This is one piece of the puzzle I never fully understood. We knew, she says simply, about Marcus's tendencies. The impulsive spending, the risky investments, the constant need for more. Richard saw it happening at the company, watched him taking bigger and bigger risks with other people's money. So you needed someone to protect the family fortune from your own son, I finish quietly. Diana nods, tears in her eyes. We interviewed dozens of financial experts considered professional trustees from all the top firms. But Richard said we needed someone Marcus would underestimate, someone he'd never suspect of watching his every move. The trophy wife he thought he'd chosen for her looks rather than her mind, I add, understanding dawning. When we learned about your background in finance, your experience with private wealth management, Diana manages a small smile. Well, let's just say Richard has always had an eye for talent. My phone buzzes again, more updates flooding in, Marcus's membership at the Metropolitan Club, revoked his position on the hospital board, suspended his private banking privileges at multiple institutions, terminated his invitation to next month's charity gala, rescinded. His lawyer sent over a proposal, Rachel mentions, holding up another document. He's offering to sign a full confession in exchange for a monthly allowance from the trust fund. I almost laugh at the audacity. Let me guess, he still thinks he has something to negotiate with? He's claiming he has evidence of historical trust fund irregularities. Says he'll go public if we don't meet his demands. This time I do laugh, pulling up a particular file on my laptop. You mean these documents? I turn the screen to show decades of pristine trust fund records, each transaction verified, each decision documented. The ones I've had independent, auditors reviewing and certifying for the past 3 years. Through the window, I watch as Marcus is driven away in a police car, his final attempt at blackmail failing as spectacularly as his other schemes. On my other screens, the Bennett family's financial empire continues operating smoothly, the transition of power already complete. The family council is ready, my assistant announces. They're waiting in the main boardroom. I gather my things, preparing to officially accept control of the Bennett family's financial future. Diana stands with me, straightening her shoulders with renewed strength. Lauren, she says softly, thank you. Not just for stopping him, but for saving him from himself. If he'd continued much longer, the damage would have been irreparable, I finish. I know. That's why I had to act now. As we head to the boardroom, my phone shows one final notification. Marcus checking into an even cheaper motel, this time in New Jersey. How far the mighty have fallen. Mrs. Bennett, Patricia calls out. Judge Morrison's office just confirmed. The emergency hearing is set for tomorrow morning. They'll want your full testimony about the trust fund manipulation. I nod, already prepared. My evidence is organized, my statement drafted, my strategy in place. Tomorrow, Marcus will learn the full extent of his mistakes, not just the financial theft, but the fatal error of underestimating the woman he married. One last thing, Rachel adds. The family's PR team wants to know how to handle the press. They're calling you everything from financial avenger to trust fund guardian. Tell them no comments, I reply, stepping into the elevator. The numbers speak for themselves. As we ascend to the boardroom, I think about the day Marcus first brought me home to meet his family. How he introduced me as his beautiful art history graduate, emphasizing my looks while dismissing my mind. How he never bothered to read the trust fund documents, never questioned why his father chose his new daughter-in-law as trustee. His last text message still sits unanswered on my phone. Please, baby. Just tell me what you want. I'll do anything. Too late, Marcus. Too late by exactly 5 years, 2 months, and 17 days. The time it took me to document every lie, trace every theft, and prepare for this moment of perfect justice. The boardroom doors open, revealing the assembled Bennett family council. Time to show them exactly why Richard chose me to protect their legacy, and why Marcus's biggest mistake wasn't stealing from the trust fund, but underestimating the woman who controlled it all along. 1 month later, the dust has finally begun to settle. I sit in my new office, the corner suite that once belonged to Marcus's father, reviewing the latest trust fund performance reports. The Manhattan skyline stretches out before me, a glittering testament to generations of Bennett, family success that I helped preserve. The Wall Street Journal piece just went live, Rachel announces, entering with her tablet. Today's headline, Bennett Trust Fund Revival, How Strategic Oversight Saved a Family Fortune. Any mention of Marcus? I ask, though I already know the answer. Only as a cautionary tale. They're calling it the ultimate case study in trust fund governance. Your quotes about financial responsibility are featured prominently. I smile, remembering the interview I'd given last week. I'd been careful to focus on the importance of proper oversight rather than personal drama. The Bennetts, after all, still had a reputation to maintain. My phone lights up with a notification from the federal prosecutor's office. Marcus's plea deal has been finalized. In exchange for a reduced sentence, he's agreed to provide evidence against larger financial fraud schemes he'd become entangled with. His new accommodations are quite a step down from the Four Seasons, Rachel observes dryly, showing me the detention center's location. Though I hear the jumpsuit orange brings out his eyes. Vanessa sent another request, Patricia adds, entering with more papers. She's offering to write a tell-all about Marcus's schemes in exchange for immunity. Tell her the federal prosecutors already have everything they need, I reply, pulling up our evidence files. Her Instagram posts provided more than enough documentation. Through my office windows, I can see the trust fund's investment team hard at work. Under my leadership, they've already recovered every dollar Marcus stole, plus implemented new safeguards to prevent future manipulation. Mrs. Bennett, my assistant calls over the intercom. The family council is ready for your quarterly presentation. I gather my materials, including the comprehensive recovery plan I've implemented since taking control. The numbers tell a story of resurrection, assets secured, investments stabilized, legacy protected. Lauren, Diana greets me warmly as I enter the boardroom. She's adapted to our new dynamic with remarkable grace, treating me more as a daughter than ever now that I've saved her family's fortune from her own son. The private banking community is calling you the trust fund whisperer, Richard adds with a proud smile. He's fully recovered from his heart surgery, thanks partly to the stress reduction of knowing his family's wealth is in capable hands. Speaking of community reactions, Rachel interjects, checking her messages. Marcus's old social circle has been quite active. The Metropolitan Club just voted to remove his name from the membership rolls permanently. I take my place at the head of the boardroom table, the same spot where Marcus once practiced his fraudulent presentations. The symmetry isn't lost on me. Before we begin, I address the assembled council. I want to share some updates about our enhanced security measures. My presentation outlines the new system of checks and balances I've implemented, multiple layers of oversight, regular audits, transparent reporting. Everything Marcus tried to circumvent, now strengthened beyond manipulation. The forensic team found something interesting in Marcus's old files, Patricia mentions during a break. Love letters to Vanessa, written on trust fund letterhead. He was planning to propose at the family's holiday gala. How romantic, I comment. Dryly. Nothing says true love like embezzled diamonds. My phone buzzes with another update, Marcus's lawyer making one last desperate attempt at negotiation. He's offering to reveal the location of more hidden accounts in exchange for a reduced restitution payment. Tell him not to bother, I instruct Patricia. We've already found everything, including the Bitcoin wallet he thought was untraceable. The afternoon brings a steady stream of developments. Marcus's remaining club memberships, canceled, his social media accounts, suspended his personal credit rating, destroyed his reputation in financial circles, irreparable. His sister Elizabeth called, Rachel informs me. She's ready to sign over her children's trust fund oversight to you as well. Says she can't think of anyone better to protect their future. I accept the responsibility with a nod. The Bennett children's futures will be secure, a stark contrast to their uncle's current situation. The media wants to know if you'll attend next month's charity gala, my assistant mentions. You're being honored for your work in financial oversight and trust fund governance. Confirm the attendance, I decide. But keep the focus on financial responsibility, not personal drama. As evening approaches, I review one final set of documents, the complete record of Marcus's downfall. Trust fund manipulation. Documented personal account theft, proven federal charges, filed family reputation, preserved justice, served. My phone shows one last notification for the day. Marcus's final attempt to access his old trust fund accounts from the detention center's computer lab. Even now, he hasn't quite accepted his new reality. Should we tell him about the foundation? Rachel asks, referring to the new Bennett Family Financial Literacy Initiative I've established. It's rather ironic, using recovered funds from his theft to educate others about trust fund responsibility. Let him read about it in the Financial Times, I reply, closing my laptop. I hear they deliver to federal detention centers. Diana appears in my doorway, her eyes bright with unshed tears. Lauren, we just got Marcus's letter. He's finally apologizing, says he understands now what he lost. Too late, I observe quietly. By exactly 5 years, 3 months, and 22 days. We stand together at my office window, watching the sun set over Manhattan. Somewhere in a federal detention facility, Marcus sits in a cell, probably wondering how his perfect life unraveled so completely. Somewhere in Ohio, Vanessa works at her parents' yoga studio, her dreams of society life shattered like the trust she helped betray. And here I stand, in the office that once represented everything Marcus thought he deserved, protecting the legacy he tried to steal. My phone buzzes with an incoming email. Another financial publication requesting an interview about trust fund governance. They're calling you the new face of financial stewardship, Diana mentions, reading over my shoulder. The woman who modernized trust fund oversight? I smile, thinking of all the nights Marcus spent explaining basic finance to his simple wife. never realizing he was lecturing a financial expert about his own impending downfall. The family lawyers want to know if you'll consider writing a book, Rachel adds, about protecting generational wealth from internal threats. Perhaps, I muse, gathering my things for the day. I certainly have enough material. As I prepare to leave, my security feed shows Marcus's last possessions being removed from the penthouse. His beloved wine collection, his designer wardrobe, his carefully curated art pieces, all being liquidated to repay his debt to the trust fund. One last thing, Patricia calls out. The federal prosecutors want to know if you'll testify at his sentencing hearing next month. I consider this, remembering every lie, every betrayal, every moment he underestimated me. No need, I decide. The evidence speaks for itself. Stepping into my private elevator, I think about the day Marcus first brought me home to meet his family. How he showcased me like a prize, never bothering to look deeper than the surface. How he dismissed my interest in the family business as cute. My phone holds his final message, sent through his lawyer this morning. I finally understand what you were protecting, what I threw away. I'm sorry. Too late, Marcus. You never realized that the real power wasn't in the trust fund itself, but in the trust you betrayed. And now you have the rest of your sentence to contemplate the true cost of underestimating the woman who held your future in her hands all along. 6 months after Marcus's sentencing, I stand at the podium of the Manhattan Financial Forum, addressing a room full of the city's most prominent trust fund managers and financial advisors. The irony isn't lost on me, speaking about financial security to the same people who once dismissed me as nothing more than a trophy wife. The greatest threat to generational wealth, I tell them, my voice carrying clearly through the grand ballroom of the plaza, isn't external. It's the complacency that comes from believing your position is untouchable. The audience hangs on every word. After all, the Bennett Trust Fund case has become required reading at top business schools. Mrs. Bennett, one of the senior partners from Goldman Sachs, approaches after my speech. Your insights on trust fund? Governance are revolutionary. Would you consider joining our board of advisors? I smile, remembering how Marcus used to explain basic investment concepts to me at parties like this. I'll have my office send over my credentials. Rachel appears at my elbow with updates from the morning's developments. 3 more family offices, requesting our oversight protocols. 2 interview requests from financial publications. 1 desperate letter from Marcus, still trying to explain himself from federal detention. The Bennett Family Financial Literacy Foundation launch is trending, she adds, showing me her tablet. They're calling it a paradigm shift in trust fund management. My phone buzzes with a message from Diana Bennett. The family's annual holiday gala is approaching, and for the first time in generations, it will celebrate not just wealth, but wisdom. The prosecutors sent over Marcus's latest statement. Patricia joins us, tablet in hand. He's finally admitted to everything, even the schemes we hadn't uncovered yet. I take the tablet, scanning his confession. The depth of his betrayal still manages to surprise me. Hidden accounts in Dubai, shell companies in Luxembourg, plans to drain the family foundation. His cellmate says he spends his days reading financial journals, Rachel mentions. Apparently, he's finally learning about proper wealth management. Better late than never. A notification pops up on my phone. Vanessa has resurfaced, this time teaching mindful money management at her parents' yoga studio in Ohio. Her Instagram bio now reads, "Surviving Toxic Wealth, My Journey to Authenticity." At least someone learned something. The Trust Fund Council meeting is in an hour, my assistant reminds me. They're voting on the new governance structure you proposed. I gather my materials, including the comprehensive reform package I've spent months developing. The Bennett family fortune won't just survive this crisis. It will emerge stronger, setting new standards for trust fund management. Lauren! Richard Bennett's voice booms across the ballroom. He's fully recovered now, his natural vigor restored. once the stress of Marcus's betrayal was removed. The Harvard Business School case study about your handling of the crisis just went live. I join him at a quiet corner table, accepting a glass of champagne. How's Diana holding up? Better. He sighs. The therapist says accepting Marcus's true nature was the first step. Your protection of the family fortune gave her the space to focus on healing. My phone shows another alert. Marcus's former office has been completely transformed into the Bennett Center for Financial Governance. The plaque outside reads, "Protecting Legacy Through Wisdom." The family lawyers finished processing the last of his restitution payments. Patricia approaches with more updates. Every dollar he stole has been recovered and reinvested. Through the ballroom's windows, I can see the Manhattan skyline, the same view Marcus used to boast about controlling from his corner office. Now, that same office serves as command central for protecting family fortunes from people like him. The financial media is calling it the Bennett Standard. Rachel shows me another article. Your protocols for trust fund governance are being adopted by families across the country. I think about the day Marcus first showed me his family's offices, how he patronizingly explained the concept of trust funds while I mentally cataloged every weakness in their security system. Your next appointment is here, my assistant announces. The Rothschild family's representatives want to discuss implementing your oversight systems. As I prepare for the meeting, my security feed shows one last image of Marcus's former life being dismantled, his prized art collection being auctioned to repay his debt to the trust. The same collection he used to lecture me about, never. Realizing I'd majored in both art history and finance. Judge Morrison called, Patricia adds. She's recommending your case as required reading for financial court judges. Says it's the most comprehensive trust fund protection strategy she's ever seen. My phone buzzes with a notification from the Federal Detention Center. Marcus has requested permission to enroll in online financial management courses. Trying to understand where I went wrong, his note reads. Should we tell him about the Foundation's new educational program? Rachel asks. The one teaching trust fund beneficiaries how to detect and prevent internal fraud? Let him figure it out, I reply, straightening my Chanel jacket. He always said he learned best through experience. Diana joins us, elegant as ever in her role as family matriarch. The Holiday Gala Committee has a suggestion. They want to honor you as guardian of legacy. I shake my head, remembering all the galas where Marcus paraded me around like an accessory. No honors. The secured fortune speaks for itself. Through my phone, I watch various scenes unfold across the city. Federal investigators using my case to train new financial crimes specialists, business schools teaching the Bennett case as a master. Class and Trust Fund Protection Society columnists speculating about Marcus's life behind bars, financial advisors studying my oversight protocols. One last thing, Rachel calls out as I head to my next meeting. Marcus's old social club is reopening their membership waitlist. Care to submit his replacement's name? I smile, thinking of all the times he used that club to impress his mistresses, flaunting the wealth he was secretly stealing. I have a better idea. Let's turn it into another foundation office, something about financial literacy for future generations. The afternoon sun streams through the plaza's windows, catching the diamond on my left hand. Not my engagement ring from Marcus, but my grandmother's ring, a symbol of true family legacy. On my desk, the latest trust fund reports show growth that would have been impossible under Marcus's manipulation. Mrs. Bennett, my assistant interrupts gently. The Wall Street Journal is here for your interview about transforming trust fund governance. I gather my thoughts, remembering every step of this journey. The quiet wife who watched and waited, the financial expert who documented every lie, the trustee who protected generations of wealth, the woman who refused to be underestimated. My phone shows. One final notification for the day. Marcus's lawyer making a last desperate pitch for leniency. He's a changed man, the message pleads. He understands now what he lost. Too late, I think. heading to the interview. Some lessons come at a price no trust fund can cover. As I take my seat across from the journalist, I catch my reflection in the window. No longer the trophy wife Marcus thought he married, but the guardian of legacy he never knew he needed. The reporter's first question makes me smile. "Mrs. Bennett, how does it feel to have revolutionized trust fund protection?" "It feels," I reply, thinking of Marcus in his cell, finally learning the true meaning of trust. "Exactly like justice." 1 year to the day after Marcus's downfall, I stand in my office at Bennett Tower, watching the sun rise over Manhattan. The view is different from up here, both literally and figuratively. The past year has transformed not just the Bennett fortune, but the entire landscape of trust fund management. My phone lights up with the morning's first notification. Forbes magazine has just released their annual Power Players issue. The cover story: "The Woman Who Changed Trust Fund Management Forever, Lauren Bennett's Revolution." The Times piece just went live too, Rachel announces, entering with her signature stack of updates. "They're calling you the silent guardian of generational wealth." I scan the headline, amused by the irony. A year ago, these same publications barely noticed me. Just another pretty wife in Manhattan's social circus. Now, they're studying my methods in business schools. Marcus's latest letter arrived, Patricia adds quietly, placing a thin envelope on my desk. Unlike his early desperate pleas, this one is different. A simple, handwritten confession of every mistake, every betrayal, every moment of hubris that led to his downfall. "He's finally completed the financial literacy program in prison," Rachel mentions, checking her tablet. "Graduated top of his class, ironically enough. Says he finally understands what he was supposed to be protecting." Through my office windows, I can see the bustling financial district, the same streets where Marcus once strutted like a prince, never realizing he was walking toward his own destruction. Now those same streets are home to a new era of financial governance, shaped by the lessons of his fall. "The Bennett Family Foundation's annual report is ready for review," my assistant announces. The new financial literacy programs have reached over 10,000 trust fund beneficiaries this year. I take the report, pleased to see the impact of our work. What Marcus tried to destroy has become a beacon of financial wisdom, helping other families protect their legacies from similar threats. "Diana's on her way up," Patricia informs me. "The Family Council approved your proposal for the new trust fund governance structure. When my mother-in-law enters, she carries herself with renewed strength. The past year has changed her too, from a woman blindsided by her son's betrayal to a fierce advocate for financial accountability." "Lauren," she begins, emotion thick in her voice, "the family wants you to know what you've built from this tragedy. It's beyond anything we could have imagined." My phone buzzes with updates that underscore her words. 3 more financial institutions adopting the Bennett Protocols, 2 international banking conferences requesting keynote speeches, 1 prestigious Financial Security Award nomination. Vanessa sent another interview request, Rachel mentions. She's writing a book about financial infidelity, wants your perspective. I decline with a simple email. Some stories don't need more telling. They need understanding. The trust fund's performance reports are in, Patricia adds, pulling up the latest figures. "Growth is up 40% since you took control. Every dollar Marcus stole has been recovered and multiplied. Through my security feeds, I can see multiple scenes playing out. Business school students studying the Bennett case, financial advisors implementing my protection protocols, trust fund managers reviewing their security measures, future generations learning from Marcus's mistakes. His parole hearing is next month," Rachel reminds me gently. "They want to know if you'll submit a statement." I consider this, remembering every step of our journey. The quiet wife who watched and learned, the expert who documented every lie, the guardian who protected a legacy, the woman who refused to be underestimated. Send them this, I decide, pulling up. The trust fund's latest performance report. Let the numbers speak for themselves. Diana touches my arm gently. He asks about you, in his letters. Says he finally understands what he had. Not just the money, but the trust. Some lessons, I reply, watching a new class of financial advisors enter the Bennett Center for Financial Governance below. Come too late to change the past, but early enough to protect the future. My phone shows one final update. Marcus's old office has been completely transformed into a state-of-the-art financial security center. The plaque outside reads, "Protecting Tomorrow's Legacy Today." The next generation of Bennett starts their financial education program tomorrow, Rachel reminds me. Would you like to speak to them? I think about these children, Marcus's nieces and nephews, the future of the family he betrayed. Thanks to our new protocols, they'll grow up understanding not just the privilege of wealth, but the responsibility of legacy. Tell them the truth, I decide, about trust, betrayal, and the price of underestimating those we dismiss. As the sun sets on another day in Manhattan's financial district, I stand at my office window, holding Marcus's final letter. In it, he finally asks the question that took him a fortune and his freedom to understand. How did I not see who you really were? The answer, of course, was simple. He never looked past his own reflection. My phone shows one last notification. The Bennett Family Trust Fund has just been named a gold standard in financial governance. The legacy Marcus tried to destroy has emerged stronger, wiser, and more secure than ever. Mrs. Bennett, my assistant calls out. They're ready for you in the boardroom. The next generation is waiting. I gather my materials, preparing to teach tomorrow's leaders the lessons learned from yesterday's mistakes. Through the window, Manhattan glitters like the fortune I protected. Beautiful, powerful, and worth every moment of patient waiting. As I head to the boardroom, I pass the wall of Bennett family photos. Marcus's portrait has been replaced by something more meaningful, a simple plaque that reads, "True wealth lies not in what we possess, but in what we protect. Some must learn this lesson through loss. Others are chosen to teach it through strength." In the end, Marcus got exactly what he deserved. Time to contemplate the true cost of underestimating a woman he thought he could control. And I got what I earned, a legacy protected, a family restored, and a future secured by the quiet power of patient justice. The story of the Bennett Trust Fund will be told for generations, not as a tragedy of betrayal, but as a testament to the strength that lies in being underestimated. And somewhere in a federal prison cell, Marcus finally understands the most expensive lesson of his life. Sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one you should have feared the most. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.